Older women of Reddit, what is something young women are doing that puzzles you? It's permanent, and your body will never make more of it. Buccal fat removal ages the face immediately, which isn't a problem for most women in their 20s, but as they actually do age, there is a high likelihood that they will need to constantly get fillers for the rest of their life to combat the side effects of significant premature aging. Even when skinnier, I've always had baby fat face. Hated it, but now at 43 I have no wrinkles and people assume I'm at least 10 years younger. Slightly awkwardly, as I have a 19-year-old daughter. I wish I'd realized in my 20s that it wasn't a curse. The problem is that we naturally lose buccal fat as we age. It's what looks like facial baby fat when you're young. The older you get, the more you lose, and you start looking gaunt and older, especially if you've already had some removed. Skin looks saggier than it would otherwise. Of course, it's worse for some than others, and even worse if you don't buy top-tier services or have an honest, realistic cosmetic surgeon. It's hard to gauge that, though. Sibling worked at an upscale cosmetic surgery center and they always told me not to go near many of the DRs there. They're considered to be some of the best in town, too. They do a lot of celebrity work. I'm 26. I went to high school with a girl who has lip fillers, and every time I see a picture of her, those damn lips are all I can look at. They look so goofy. I know a girl who got them at 21. Before then she was honestly one of the prettiest women I have ever seen. Redhead with blue eyes and just the fairest features. Now she looks like a clown. Same thing with someone I used to work with. Honestly, it's your body, do whatever makes you happy, but I'm baffled that they look in the mirror and don't think they look like they're having a bad reaction to something. No joke, one of my best friends texted me like 2 weeks ago saying she thought she was having a bad reaction to something because her lips looked like she had filler, lol. Remember when they said Barbie dolls were creating unrealistic beauty standards? Despite that, I don't think we really saw this level of body modification until the Kardashians and other celebrities started popularizing it. Barbies got nothing on their unrealistic standards. Blasting pictures of their young children all over social media with 1,000 followers. My sister posted a pic of my new baby and tagged me in it. Started getting weird friend requests from people across the world out of nowhere. I hadn't had a friend request in 9 months. I had actually asked her not to post the pictures and she did anyway, so I never sent her a pic again. Before my son was born, I asked everyone to keep my kid off their social media. Mine is restricted to friends and family only, locked down pretty well, and difficult to find because I don't use my first name on there. I don't know who other people have on their pages, but my kid didn't need to be blasted all over their pages to see. My son was born via C-section around 5 p.m. The nurse asked if I wanted a picture taken on my phone to show my mom and niece who were in the waiting room. I said yes. She went and got my phone from my mom, took a couple of photos, and gave it back to my mom. She sent it to herself, then to close family members. Within 10 minutes, my sister had it posted on all of her social media pages and was acting as though she had been at the hospital with me all day. My 16-year-old niece, her daughter, called her and told her to stop, to take it all down, and do as I'd asked. She apparently got mad but finally did it. I found out about it the next day and thanked my niece, but it started a whole thing that ended with me finally just blocking her on social media because she wouldn't do one simple thing. This, especially photos of them in the bath and stuff, really not a good idea at all. I'd be horrified if my mom had done that back in the day. It's bad enough she has real photos of me in the bath in a photo album, but at least the world hasn't seen them. I so agree with you. I have a friend who is around 40 now and he had a kid maybe 12 years ago. He never posted a single photo to social media, even though he was pretty active on it. He said that he's going to leave it up to her to decide if she wants pictures of herself on the internet, which I thought was a cool decision. Well done makeup including contouring. I am an old hag and never mastered the art, and now it seems like everyone is able to do it, and no matter what I still look like a rodeo clown if I try. Young women who are into it seem to watch a couple of videos and become total artists. Beginner tutorial. Find the right shade. And I'm done. In your defense, they have so much more access to everything. Tools, variety and education information. I'm in my 30s and I learned how to do makeup by reading the tutorials in magazines like 17 and Teen Vogue and the backs of the eyeshadow. Brushes were for professionals. We got those sponge applicators and the wedge sponges for foundation and the powder puffs in the CoverGirl loose powder pots. You maybe had a fluffy brush for bronzer if your older sister, cousin, aunt gave you one. The lack of variety in options was wild. Foundation was thick liquid or gag mousse and it was all orange or pink tinted. The bronzers, blushes were all powder and your brow pencil was a brown eyeliner if you even did anything to your brows besides plucking. I think it was the dawn of the YouTube makeup tutorial that changed everything. Suddenly there was widespread demand for accessibility to better options that these women were using in these videos. I remember watching Bebexo's tutorials for makeup and hair and it changed the game for me. Younger gal with hooded eyes here. The best tips I've learned for hooded eyes is to not put too much dark makeup on your lids. It makes the hooded part stand out more. This is an everyday look that I've learned. Step 1. Pick a light, medium, and dark shade. Possibly add another very light shade if you have fair skin. Step 2. Get 2 eyeshadow brushes. A regular one, not sponge, and a fluffy brush. It looks like a tiny powder brush. Step 3. You're going to divide your eyelid into 4 parts. The outer corner, the middle, the inner corner, and the crease between your eyelid and your brow bone. Step 4. Use the regular eyeshadow brush to apply the light shade to the inner corner of your eye to the middle, medium shade in the middle, and then put the dark shade in the outer corner as if you were giving yourself wings with eyeliner. This is the step where you are going to experiment a little to find the right amount and where to put your shades. Step 5. Take your light shade, or an even lighter shade if you are fair-skinned, and use the fluffy brush to put it inside of your crease. You are going to cover your entire crease in this color. The reason we add a light shade to the crease is because shadow makes the hood appear deeper, but a light shade can counteract that. Step 6. Now clean your brush and blend the edges of each of these shades together. You may find that you've blended all your dark shade away. That's fine, just add more as you see fit. Crying on the internet. I'm talking full-on snot bubble crying. Maybe it's my childhood trauma talking, but I can't fathom having an awful thing happen to me and then whipping out my phone to tell my followers about it. Maybe BC I have no followers, I just bury it deep and slap on a smile like my mom taught me. I think there's also a massive difference between ending up in a situation where you become vulnerable and you don't hide it from others to see, or being in your room sad and deciding to start a stream showing your vulnerability. I think the first case can be a mature and healthy thing, not sure about the latter. To your point, I always think about the difference between vulnerability and performed vulnerability. Like you said, vulnerability happens in those odd, uncomfortable moments where you feel more than you'd like to. Performed vulnerability is sharing what sounds to be vulnerable, like a traumatic story, as a means to an end, to get something out of a situation. It can build false intimacy, portray oneself as strong, look good while crying, get a desired response out of a situation. I sometimes have to ask myself, am I being actually vulnerable or just performing it? Big, fluffy false eyelashes. I tried it once and it felt like caterpillars on my eyelids. They had to come off right away. I don't know how they stand it, but I admire their skill. Edit. Just wanna make it clear here, I'm not about shitting on the aesthetics of young people. You do you, my sweet children. It's just not for me. My generation laughed at Tammy Faye Baker's eyelashes. This generation aspires to them. It boggles me. This generation loves wearing glasses, I think. 2000 and earlier, and kids with glasses got made fun of. A fiend's daughter ended up needing glasses and she was excited. When mom started talking about contacts, the daughter shut that down quick. She wanted big, silver dollar-sized lenses in her glasses. Focusing on their social media appearance. The lighting, the posing, it's all for likes. Posting where they are, where they go. The complete transparency over their location floors me after being told not to tell people that stuff online. I worry that a lot of young people are too aware of their social media standing and appearance and aesthetic and are forgetting to find and love themselves for who they are. So, I teach high school math. My students have tracking apps so they can see exactly where their friends are at all times, and I think it's weird as hell. Someone was absent, so I asked, "Where is Martha?" To nobody in particular. Well, her friend in class pulls out her phone and reply, "Oh, she should be here soon. She's in the 300 building bathroom." I find it incredibly creepy, but they have no issue with it. Passive-aggressive roommate fights. The layers can get really impressive, but in a terrible way. I wrote B a note about dishes but C thought it was about them, so C wrote a note, then B came home and thought it was for her, so she texted the group chat in. Dude, talk to people. Talk to people. This is the perfect time in your life to be practicing assertiveness and healthy conflict resolution. All this shitty note writing and vague group text chatting and bullshit is making whatever the problem is 1,000 times worse. Do you ever rewatch a show and scream at the young people to just go and talk to her, him, them? Because I do. Easily 90% of conflict in any drama show is just because one character won't just open up and talk to the other one. It's wild. I think this wouldn't happen in real life. Then I talk to my nieces and nephews, and it 100% is because people just won't talk to each other.